So we shouldn't just having the common skin color isn't something that we should all unite around. So isn't that pretty much the point of FBA, that people have a unique lineage and a unique history, cultural background, and all these different unique experiences, and that's why it's pretty much saying that yeah, we do have the same skin color as Africans, but we have a different experience and we have different viewpoints and different culture, and that's why we have to separate ourselves. So I don't get the whole point of saying yeah, like okay, we're all black, but Africans, we don't really view ourselves as black.
Okay,
So what's the point of FBA? That is the point of FBA.
I'll let Afridamus respond, but I would say this real quick before he makes his conclusion on this. I don't think Africans are against the whole concept of delineation if it doesn't add the narrative of the hate that we're getting in that regard. You can say you're not, it's like the Jamaicans are Jamaicans, and I don't think any African is sweating that the Jamaicans have their own identity and cultures and everything. Nobody.
You said something very important, bro. You said Jamaicans. You said Africans. All we want to be called is American. We're not African American. That American is our culture. No matter what you believe, no matter what anybody say, this is our culture, and that's the only thing we.
And I don't think there's any African on the books that disagrees with that. We don't have the power to tell you who you are.
Yeah, we support that.
Look, I mean,
we support
the point is this. I mean,
You're American.
It's pretty much the FBAs are out here, and look, certain FBAs are going to have disagreements, or certain FBAs are going to have, maybe some, you could say, contempt towards Africans. Like, sure, I mean, but a lot of Africans have contempt towards FBAs. I mean, it's not tied. That's not something that's tied to your lineage. That's just your own ideology. You can be a Pan African FBA. You could be a Pan African Nigerian. You could be a Pan African Jamaican or Caribbean or whatever. I mean, it's pretty much, you can separate the hatred or the discontent or whatever kind of beef that's going on between different people of different lineages. I mean, I'm just saying that you can separate the two. You don't have to say that all FBAs dislike Africans or all Africans dislike FBAs. It's just a delineation. It's just a lineage.
You got two people at FBA trying to talk to y'all, and y'all like, nah, fuck it, nah.
No. I've agreed with you. You're not listening. I've agreed with you, and I'm just saying that the word foundational Black American is not a recognized lineage in any book in America.
I'll wait for some white person to put us on the books.
Yeah.
Why would we like who gave anybody the right to to deem who we are or who we identify with?
Well, you gotta.
We can choose our own identification. We don't have to wait for somebody else to put it on
but you're
the
not
books.
all universally hard. You're not all universally accepting that. Even amongst yourself.
A lot of people don't accept African American, but that's what's on the books.
Right.
A lot of people, because a lot of people are saying, why do we have to identify as African Americans when we're in America? Like Jamaicans don't call themselves African Jamaicans.
Yeah, they don't. They're Jamaicans. But again, we have to also not confuse certain terminology. Say there's a nationality as one of them. There's ancestry. Jamaicans universally say that their ancestry is from the transatlantic slave trade, which is Africa. You ask any Caribbean person.
The whole point of FBA,
so your ancestry, but the FBA concept says that some people are not even from Africa.
Well, look, this is the thing. I mean, first of all, if we go back far enough,
are you Indigenous from Africa, or
even
what?
White people are from Africa. Everybody came out of southern Africa and then moved or migrated somewhere all the way through Europe, India, Asia, all over the world, right? And then we eventually came to be where we are. The point of FBA is that we acknowledge that a lot of African Americans, so-called African Americans, FBAs, have ancestry that goes back to Africa, along with those, because there was an intermixing between people who are African brought here through the transatlantic slave. Okay, you have others who came. There was others in the ancestry that came from, just the natives who were already here. There were plenty of Black natives who were already here who came from from Africa several hundreds of years ago before the
How are
first
they
European even
natives
came.
if they came
So
from?
it's just
I
saying
think
that
that
the
is
two.
no, that is not historically true. There's no
How is
What isn't
literature. I
true?
true?
I actually researched this. There's no literature that shows that a group of Africans carved out a boat and sailed
Carve out
uh,
a boat.
across the Atlantic.
So when was
Nana,
Here is a picture of uncontacted people in the Andaman Islands, which is part of today's India. I bring this up because it gives you a preview into what these tribes were before they were contacted, and their behavior and their understanding of the world and the universe should enlighten people and teach people that my people, the Africans, were not capable of exploration. And if you read through African history and our behaviors and how we lived our lives, because Africa is one of the unique continents that doesn't have natural disasters, as the temperatures are good year round. There was really no reason for Africans to be explorers beyond the continent of Africa. I'm also going to attach a video to this same video that will give you first-hand experience of some Europeans going to today's uncontacted tribes and realizing that even after all this massive industrialization outside of these communities that they don't see, they still don't know what a white person or other people even look like, let alone sail to places that would have people that look different to them. I hope this explains it.
let him
This
explain how
was
they got
the
here though.
Americans.
Can you tell us about it?
Guys,
The indigenous
the
people?
I'm
first boat?
I'm from
Okay,
Africa
look.
proper. I know what our civilization
Yeah,
was. I
when
know
was
what
the
we were
first boat
capable
made?
of.
When was the first boat?
Have you ever seen an uncontacted group in the world? Like you can look at maybe in India, there's an African uncontacted group in the Andamans. If you look at that group, it'll give you a preview into what we were capable of for now you're even talking past 500 years ago.
He sees Philip, who must look like a strange creature with an eye of a camera instead of a human face. This one, for some reason, is terrified by my black bag. He tastes the salt that I brought as a gift. His breathing is short, a sign of fear. After the salt, I show him matches. He burns his hand, as if he can't believe this is real fire. This feels like a meeting in a time warp. Perhaps these two Lambi, with their wooden spears and stone axes, are the living ancestors of we, who have learned to fly without wings, talk with the stars, and destroy our own planet.
It is not a case of once bitten, twice shy. The bravest warrior wants to know more about the gift of fire sticks from one of the living dead. But he discovers the phosphorus on the matches tastes awful. The gift of instant fire seems to convince the Tulambi that Dutilleux, living dead or not, is socially acceptable, or at least is no immediate threat. With what may be one of the oldest gestures of humankind, the right hand, the weapon hand, is offered in greeting. The Tulambi look at Jean-Pierre's pale skin as if it could be paint. But would the living dead be warm, made of flesh and bone and muscle, just as they are? It seems like the Tulambi have never seen a white man, and that they're finally prepared to believe their own eyes. The long, soft hair of the Caucasian is clearly another wonder of the world.
So,
it is scientifically not even possible with what was existing there. And Africa as a continent, overwhelmingly beyond the Sahara, was so fertile with resources. People that live in those generations were hunters and gatherers. Okay, they hunt for food and their protein, and they gather food that is within their vicinity. And if they were missing something, they conquered neighboring clans or neighboring tribes. That is true history. These people could not have been found here unless these blacks that you're talking about were already indigenous to this land completely, but they did
Or
not settle here.
Well, I
or they
mean, I'm
use some
trying to
type
say
of
that everybody
spaceship.
came
Maybe
from
they
out
use
at
some
some
Right.
type of
point.
It is
spaceship
not,
or
I'm
something like
telling you
that.
this as an African because now that comes into our
saying,
history.
but you're saying that boats wasn't made back. It wasn't no boats back then. There wasn't no boats at all.